Hello everybody, welcome to this edition of Longhorn Diaries. Today I got beside me the one, the only, Mr. Jordan St. Pierre. Jordan, say hello.
Hey Trav. Hey everyone.
Hi, this is Travis Hawryluk with RE/MAX Preferred Choice, and this is Longhorn Diaries. I'm going to be bringing you everything you need to know about the real estate world and more, all from the cab of my truck. Mr. Jordan St. Pierre is with Mortgage Architects, and believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, he's the first returning guest that I've had on the show, and there's been over 30 diaries so far. Jordan, how does that make you feel?
Pretty special, Trav.
Well, thank you for coming to today's show.
Thanks for having me again, Trav.
So, as I mentioned, Jordan is with Mortgage Architects, and being a mortgage broker and being the start of the year, I thought it was super important for everyone to get caught up with the mortgage world, and I couldn't think of anyone else better to do that than Jordan. So Jordan, let's start off with how 2019 went. What changes did we see? How were people qualifying? What did interest rates do? Let's see where we've come from in 2019.
Yeah, Trav, so 2019 wasn't a super exciting year, but there was some pretty big changes in the background. So there's kind of 4 changes I can think of that were pretty important to the mortgage market. So there was 2 different rule changes as far as programs or incentives. So the RRSP Home Buyers Plan, which lots of people are familiar with, it's a plan that people can use RSPs to for down payment when they're a first-time home buyer.
Right.
So the amount they can use for their down payment changed from $25,000 to $35,000 now.
Oh, from their RSPs?
From their RSPs. So that's a pretty big change, and it was fairly quiet. That kind of got snuffed out by the first-time homebuyers incentive.
Okay.
That was a big new program that came out. We haven't seen a lot of people use it yet. There was a lot of chatter about it. It's a shared equity program, so it helps people with their down payments. It's kind of a fairly long-winded program, but if anyone wants more information, they can definitely reach out to me. As far as rates and qualifying, there was a large drop in rates from the start of the year to the middle of the year, almost 1%. So in January, average rates we were seeing were in the range of 3.69, and in the middle of the year, when summer came and things were more competitive, kind of average rate was 2.69, kind of ballpark. So that was a big drop, and I didn't really foresee that much of a drop in 1 year or half a year. And
in the span of the last 10 years, is that historically a really low interest rate, or how does that kind of stack up to the last 10 years, let's say, in the interest rate world?
Yeah, 2.69 as far as an insured rate is getting pretty low to almost the bottom in the last 10 years.
And that's for a 5-year locked in, correct?
5-year fixed. Which is I would say the most common interest rate in term that people take. I guess the other thing that was major this year, and it was fairly quiet as well, is that the qualification rate dropped. So the start of the year it was 5.34, and it was for most of 2018. And they dropped it to a 5.19 to qualify. So that's when people are subject to stress test, we use the qualifying rate of 5.19 now. So that was a fairly decent change as well.
Awesome. I did hear a little bit of talk about the new program that the government rolled out, the shared equity program, but a lot of people don't really know exactly how it works. Is this program gaining popularity? I know you mentioned a lot of people didn't really use it, but it is something that might get kind of fizzled out, or do you think it's going to be in here for the long haul?
That's a good question. My personal opinion, I think it'll probably fizzle out. I think it was a pretty good idea at first, but there's a lot of negatives to it. Once people know the full ramifications of it, they tend to kind of shy away from it. There's quite a few details in the background that might make it not as advantageous as you might think.
Right.
So I think the long term that this program might fizzle out. However, it does serve a purpose. It helps people qualify for more. It helps people reduce monthly payments, reduce default insurance. So it does have its place.
Awesome. So we're currently in January 2020. What can we look forward to in the mortgage world for 2020? Any major changes? Any tips and tricks you can share?
2020, it's kind of a tough year to predict. Rates, as far as fixed rates, I'm guessing, and of course I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm guessing that it's going to look very similar to last year. I think that the low rates that we've seen in the middle of the year, we're probably going to see again, depending whatever happens with bonds, as that's how fixed rates are priced. As far as variable rates, they're priced off of the Bank of Canada rate or prime rate from that. I would think that you're going to see a quarter-point drop in prime. There's a certain camp of people that think that's going to happen mid to late this year, given that the economy might slow down.
Okay.
That remains to be seen, obviously. As far as rule changes, I don't know if we're going to see any rule changes, to be honest. There's chatter, and there always is chatter about rule changes, but I honestly think they're probably going to keep them as is for now. That's just my take. With what's going on in the economy, they don't really know exactly how things are going to pan out globally, so it's best probably just to hold tight and see what happens from that.
Awesome. So, how have stress tests affected Albertans, and is there potential for the future for those to be revised, for the province?
So, I haven't heard any rumors of it being revised, geographically.
Okay.
Although it would help. I know that Alberta, there are some articles out there that say Alberta has been hit the hardest with stress tests.
Right.
It probably hits everyone equally. Obviously, our economy's down. So it's kind of hindering qualification, especially for people that are trying to re-qualify for refinances and renewals. There is rumor of that going away still, but that's kind of always been on the table. People have been talking about getting rid of that for a while. So it remains to be seen, but it would be nice for renewals and refinances to get rid of the stress test, especially maybe if they could make something, in lieu of people making mortgage payments, something along those lines to make it equal.
Awesome.
Nice.
And do you have any fun facts for us? I'm a big fun fact guy. I know you are. Do you have anything that you'd like to share with the viewers here today?
Oh, mortgage fun facts. I heard a couple recently. I was talking to someone yesterday about some stats, and they were saying that somewhere in the neighborhood of nearly 70% of Canadians that have mortgages admit that they don't really fully understand them. They don't know much about them. So, that's kind of alarming considering how many home buyers have mortgages, and they can, it might be the biggest loan that you have.
Right.
If you don't really understand it, that might be alarming. So
it's super important. It's kind of interesting, right? You have a monthly payment and probably forms a large percentage of someone's income, and for them not to fully understand it is not a good thing.
No, it's not. So, not a fun fact, but definitely a fact worth noting.
That is for sure. Well, thank you very much, Jordan, for joining us on this episode. I know it's always great to have you, and always good to be kept up to date with the mortgage world.
Thanks for having me, Trav. Appreciate it.
And be sure to tune in to future episodes of Longhorn Diaries as we interview guests from all across the industry and local businesses. And be sure to check us out this year at Home Buying and Home Selling 101. Jordan and Holly from Mortgage Architects are always there to answer your questions and also to give a little presentation on how exactly mortgages work. So no matter where you are in the home buying or home selling process, Jordan and Holly and their team are always willing to answer your questions. Yeah.
You got it, Trav.
Well, that wraps up this edition of Longhorn Diaries. Jordan, where are we headed?
Back to the office.
Back to the office. Everyone take care, and we'll see you next time.